Third and 5. Blitz. Picked up. Hurts. A.J. Brown drops it. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, it's Josh.
No, we're not doing that. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Season's Over podcast, where three dumbasses with no qualifications at all talk about stuff that we like. Introduce yourself, guys.
Hi, I'm Josh.
I'm Mark.
am ready to talk about how the Jets are going to make the Super Bowl every year, the Mets are going to make the World Series, and how the Brooklyn Nets are trash.
So, as you see, no qualifications or understanding about anything we're talking about. And it already sucks. It already sucks. Mark, do you want to say a little more about yourself?
I like every other New York team that Josh doesn't. And so we all make fun of him because he likes the Jets. Everybody laugh. Haha.
Yeah, it really is that.
Yeah, we literally are three dumbasses. Enjoy.
I two dumbasses. Sorry, I'm a genius, and I like the Seahawks, and pretty much, yeah, I like other New York teams that Josh doesn't like, but
all right, guys, enjoy the show.
You didn't need to say that. Don't tell him what to do. you don't tell him what to do. Anyways, getting past that, playoffs just happened. A lot of things going on in the sports world right now, which is why I thought it was a good time to make. Well, why they, and being all of us, thought it would be a good time to make the first episode, especially with wild card round wrapping up. I guess we could go game by game in order if this is our first topic. Carolina nearly beats the Rams at home. Rams definitely the favorites in that game. After that, it was the Bears-Packers game of the year. Beautiful game. Bears came back on that one. Sorry, Packers fans. Then it was... What game was after that? Jags-Bills. Bills pulled one out of a hat. Another phenomenal game. Eagles-Niners, really boring game, but Niners pulled that one out. They'll verse Seattle next round. And Sunday night, Chargers got their ass kicked in by the Patriots. Justin Herbert, fraud watch. We'll talk about that. And Rodgers, last potential game, goes bad and loses to the Texans. So first we'll talk about Carolina Rams game. Carolina nearly hangs on. What are your thoughts? What are you guys thinking about that game? What do you come off that game thinking?
I think, Josh, you go ahead.
So the Rams, and we figured this out probably about halfway through the season. Their corners, that secondary, will be their downfall. If they cannot pull it together, they will not beat Seattle. Jackson Smith-Njigba is a top 3 receiver this season.
I'll take it.
And if the Rams cannot even contain that, or if they let everyone around him cook, they are not going to make it very far, even past Chicago, who's got a good group of receivers.
Yeah. And Mark, what are you thinking about that?
My take on that game.
Sorry, I gotta move.
My take on that game. Carolina scoring 31 points on the Rams was quite shocking. And, they scored with 2:39 left on the clock, up 4. The Rams really got lucky in that game. And if they play how they did in the wild card round against Chicago, I think they're going to have a tough time.
So the Rams struggled on one way or another on all 3 sides. They had a punt blocked. The offense was stagnant at times. The defense obviously got eaten alive. While the run game didn't really do too much damage, I think they did allow 2 touchdowns.
The run game,
other than that,
it
was not very efficient from Carolina, which has been the story over the past second half of the year.
Yeah, just to interject here, their leading rusher was Chuba Hubbard with 46 yards and 13 carries. 2 touchdowns, but those were based on heavy air yards by the offense. So a little bit of lack of rushing offense by the Panthers. I think it's more of the rushing defense on the Rams, but continue.
From here, what the Panthers have to do from here is they got to go into the offseason. I think they need to look into that running back room, but in the draft, they should look to draft that edge rusher out of A&M. I think his name is Cassius Howell. He's pretty good. Add another linebacker. Because that team does look promising. They just picked up Bryce Young's 5th-year option. I think that would be the best case scenario. Dave Canales is a coach who shows a lot of promise. He has fixed Bryce Young, makes him look like a very capable quarterback, and he's happy.
Yeah. For me personally, I came away from this game thinking that Bryce Young is probably the future of this franchise. I don't know if he will ever be a top 5 QB, maybe a top 10, but he definitely has earned the shot to at least finish his rookie contract and maybe get a deal in the future. I think, he could probably be in that, area where Trevor Lawrence was before this year and Tua was before this year, of guys who are consistent. They're not elite, but are solid enough to, win games for your football team. And you did bring up their running back room. I think their running back room is one of the better ones in the league. I do think Chuba Hubbard definitely did take a little bit of a step back, if anything, from past years, but I also think he showed enough this year to be, a good dual threat with Rico Dowdle. I don't see how you don't bring Rico back, unless you can get an upgrade at that position. I think, receiving wise, you have an elite receiver in McMillan, and Coker had a really good game as well. It's just really getting pieces, and we'll do mock drafts at a later time, but this team does feel like it's on a good spot in the future, especially in the division they're in.
No, I think Carolina does have a bright future with Bryce Young at the helm. Definitely got to surround him with more weapons. In a playoff game, defense can't give up 30 plus points. Granted, they were facing Matt Stafford, who's MVP front runner. Kind of hard to slow him down when he throws the ball in like 2 seconds to Puka Nacua for 1,000 yards a game. But and Tay Adams as the number 2. I got nothing else. Josh, you can go.
So one thing I will say, the key to the Rams beating the Bears is that offense needs to get going on every level. And even in the third quarter, if they're up 20, 25, you do not let off the gas. And that kind of brings me to, the Packers-Bears game that happened Saturday night, where, the Bears script all year for winning has been, let's be down at a certain point so we come back and win. Every single game the Bears are winning, except for maybe that Eagles game. It feels like the Bears are just behind. And they just, they get clicking. It starts clicking. Caleb Williams is a dog. Caleb Williams,
yeah, he's
in the best situation he can be, especially compared to a year ago. He's really talented. He's unstackable. So no matter how good your pass rush is, you're probably not going to get to him. And it's, the big question mark is going to be the Bears defense.
Well, yeah.
It was in this game. Mm-hmm. The game started off kind of slow, but then the Bears kind of they stayed stagnant. Meanwhile, the Packers just, they started hitting, and Jordan Love was hitting anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
It was Reed. It was
Golden.
Watson. It was Golden. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this
But
takes us. Oh, Mark, you go.
yeah, I still want to talk about this for a little bit.
Oh, you can.
But the Bears really do rally behind their fans, and those Bears fans were loud
Cheese grater.
and yet cheese grater. And I think the fans, the how loud that stadium got as they were slowly coming back, pushed them even more to finish the comeback and win that game, finish strong. I think the Rams are gonna have a tough time playing in Chicago.
For sure, especially
It-
since the Rams' offense did struggle a bit against the Panthers. I say struggle when they had over 300 yards passing, but I mean,
Yeah, but 115 of that was to Puka. Another
Yeah.
80 of that was to Tay. So I mean, there's your 230 yards right there. If
I
they
mean,
could
yeah.
slow down one of them, preferably Nakua, because he's
Bears
younger
defense, though.
than Tay. He's faster. Bears defense is struggling, but if they can steam around Puka and get some pressure on Stafford, I think it's gonna be a long day for the Rams.
I mean,
So
absolutely, I could see that, but I think that would need to take place in a world where the Bears play a full game from start to finish. Look, I loved the fact that the Bears beat the Packers. I'm not a Packers fan. I kind of hate the Packers as a Seahawk fan, but looking at this from a scenario of I'd rather versus the Bears in the NFC Championship than the Rams. You cannot. What the Bears do every week, it feels like, where they play shit football for the first 3 quarters and then kind of crap the bed a little the first 3 quarters and then immediately start playing the best football you'll ever watch in the last one. It's not sustainable, especially against good teams like the Rams. And the Rams definitely do have their weak points, I think, and that was definitely exposed last week. Or in the last week, it was 2 days ago against the Panthers. This kind of transitions me to the Packers side of things. What do you think? A lot of Packers fans want LaFleur gone after that. What do you guys think about that?
So I personally believe that the Packers should keep Matt LaFleur. There is no reason to get rid of him. He's had him in the playoffs all but 1 year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to deal with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
year.
Hold on.
But that's another story.
Listeners, for the first time, you do it. Josh has a unreasonable hate for Aaron Rodgers.
We'll get to that.
That's
but
a
we won't go
topic
into a
for a couple games, for a couple minutes down the line. But yeah, he has so whatever he says about Aaron Rodgers, take with a grain of salt.
But the Packers did commit to MLF. They told him he's going to be back next year. And
yes, but is that a wise decision?
I think it is a wise decision. He hasn't had the ideal situation of he traded for one of the best, edge rushers in the league, and he goes down. And he even outcoached Ben Johnson for 3 quarters. It is the Packers' fault they lost that game to the
2
Bills.
quarters. All right, don't give him that 3rd quarter.
I'll give him the 3rd quarter.
I mean, at the end of the 3rd, they were up 21-9.
No, at the end of it,
they were
something
still
like
up
that. But
so
they weren't expanding their lead.
I
don't think
it's
they
also
had
a
a
good
first
idea
down.
to keep LaFleur, but you also have to take into consideration it's a tough division. The NFC North is no joke. The Bears are on the rise, as we all have saw. The Lions are still a good team, better than what their record shows. The Vikings last year were 14-3.
They went 9-8 with one of the worst quarterback rooms in the league.
So I mean, the Vikings are only a few pieces away from going back to what they were. They lost Sam Darnold, which they should have never done. But that's another
Oh,
topic for another
yeah.
time. It's just there's a new sheriff in town. His name's Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And Green Bay's gonna have to do a better job scheming against that man because that
Yeah.
man is
Well, I certainly
trouble.
think Caleb as well has to do a bit better because, that's play of not playing good until the third or the fourth quarter is not going to be sustainable against teams other than the Packers, who
Wait,
you talk
but
about
at the end of
injury,
the
Josh.
day, but at the end of the day, when the clock hits 0, their score is higher than the opponents. So
Yeah,
it's not
mean,
sustainable, but it's working. Not
You're
saying
right.
they should continue that. They do need to play better the first 3 quarters, but that W column looking pretty nice, and I think it continues. I think they get another W.
well,
I
moving
actually
on.
have the Rams beating the Bears.
Well, we'll talk about that with the divisional round predictions because those will come up in a little bit. But next game was Jacksonville versus the Bills. Very close game throughout it all. Jacksonville played a good game, all things considered. Just Josh Allen turned into Superman again and won his first away playoff game in his career here.
So the Bills won that game, like Nick said, because of one man. No other guy I could sit here and tell you played as even close to the role that Josh Allen played.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is a top 3 quarterback in football. That is not to be doubted at all.
Yeah.
Especially right now, especially left in the playoffs, he is the second best quarterback left.
Out of who?
Matt Stafford.
I don't
He's the
agree
best
with that.
quarterback left. But that man needs to be protected. He went out, 3 times with an injury?
Well, okay, he went
And
out twice with an injury, but
He went out twice?
or no, he went out once with an. He never went out with an injury. It was always like change of possession. He did hurt his hand, but he never went out for it. And then he did hurt his leg and did get a check for a concussion. Cleared everything, stayed in the game, and had one of his best games.
But other guys, these receivers didn't really make any big plays. These, Khalil Shakir, he had double-digit receptions, but he didn't even
12.
get 100 yards.
Yep.
He had 83 yards. James
82.
Cook was on lock. And I understand, Jacksonville has the best run defense. They got to face Denver next week. They have, I think, the second best run defense. So, yeah. That game essentially came down to Josh Allen making the biggest play when it mattered. And Trevor Lawrence threw a pick when it mattered most, which, his O-line didn't really hold up. And I think the trajectory for Jacksonville is actually looking kind of similar to Carolina in the aspect of, coming into the season, they had a question mark at quarterback. And, well, now they think they have their guy. Well, I believe a lot more in Trevor Lawrence than I do Bryce Young. The Jaguars exceeded expectations with first-year coach Liam Cohn in Duval County. I think that, on the other hand, it brings up a question: would you rather have Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert?
Oh, that's a combo for another day. But Mark, thoughts on the Jags game?
I felt the Jags played well. I mean, those 2 interceptions really did hurt them. Buffalo got that touchdown at the end, gave them the win. But Jacksonville's future's looking bright. I think Buffalo got really lucky in that game. So I think they struggle next week, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Trevor Lawrence, I think, solidified himself as the guy in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Shout out to Washington. 7 catches, 100+ yards, and a touchdown.
Wasn't even in for half the game either.
He was balling these last couple of weeks. I think that's a great sign, for Lawrence because, BTJ has not been their number one guy.
This year he is not.
Shout out BCJ for that game he had on Saturday or Sunday morning. Sunday at 1, by the way.
Huh.
he
He had a
uh
touchdown.
he hasn't been but he hasn't been playing all too well.
Oh, yeah.
At least not living up to the expectations as every NFL fan in the world would have thought. At least fantasy owners. Don't get me started.
Ha!
Yeah, I thought it was a really good game.
Mhm.
Looking forward to see what Buffalo does against Denver and what Jacksonville does in the offseason to improve, because I think they're going to be a threat next year as well.
I think
Yeah, certainly
Jacksonville
agree.
needs to look into. I think Jacksonville needs to look into maybe adding another guy or two to that O line, and maybe another guy in that secondary.
I
Greg
mean,
Newsome really isn't it.
you know,
To be
they have
honest.
Travis Hunter on the back burner. You know, we'll see what their plan is with him, but I think the Jags are going to be a good team for a long time, I think. Unlike their 2017 run where they made the AFC Championship, they actually, well, I think, have a quarterback. I wasn't that high on Trevor Lawrence into this year. He just made a lot of silly mistakes, but it genuinely seems like he's been getting better and better. And, you know, yeah, the stat sheet says he has 2 picks, but I don't think those tell the whole story of the game he played. I think he played a great game, all things considered. You know, and it sucks that you had to verse the best quarterback probably in the league right now in Josh Allen the first round of the playoffs. But if there's a team that can make a deep run from a wild card spot, Josh Allen and the Bills have the experience. But that takes us to our next game, which was the boring game of Niners versus Eagles. And I'm just going to say it straight away. Kevin Patullo is no longer the offensive coordinator. He did not get fired. He got demoted, I think. He's not the offensive coordinator. But this was just a coaching masterclass by Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh. Josh, do you want to go into that a little more?
Robert Saleh, man, I miss him. Yo, so with Philly moving on from Patullo, that this next season will mark the 5th straight season with a new offensive coordinator for Philly.
In all fairness, one of their offensive
you know,
coordinators did get hired as a head coach.
Two of them.
Shane
Steichen,
and now Kellen Moore.
And Kellen Moore. And they're both, doing pretty good in my opinion. But I think that I'm going to actually cut Jalen Hurts some slack. Meanwhile, I hate Philly. I dislike Philly a lot.
He hates Philly.
But Jalen Hurts, credit to him, because at the end of the day, he's always doing what the haters say he can't do. He can run the ball. He's got an arm. While I don't think he's great. I don't even think he's top 10. I don't think he's incompetent. I think he's a capable quarterback, very athletic. This game was a defensive masterclass. Even on both sides of the ball, a little less Philly than San Francisco, but
I mean, which is crazy to say
because 2 interceptions.
San Fran has no. Sorry to cut you off, Josh, but San Fran, I want to put into perspective that San Fran has no elite players on that offense or on that defense. Sorry, with the injuries, I think majority of the people taking defensive snaps were backups this game, and despite that, they held.
I just want to chime in for a second. I think you guys are giving way too much credit to the Niners defense. I think it was a lack of completions on the Eagles side. There was a lot of drop balls that should have been caught.
Shout out AJ Brown.
Shout out our guy AJ Brown.
Don't think he's going to be for next year.
For messing up my fantasy.
New York's favorite player.
But yeah, I mean, if he catches some of those balls, we're not talking about San Fran winning. That was Philly's game to lose. As much as I don't like Philly, they should have won that game. I don't think it was all of a coaching masterclass
I
on
do.
San Fran's defensive side.
I think it was a defensive masterclass. All those players came to play, and I would like to shout out to Marcus Robinson for being a bright spot on San Francisco,
Yeah, he
especially
popped
early in
off.
that game where he had a big catch that got him into the red zone, and then a touchdown on the same drive.
When Kittle got hurt, he stepped up, and that's what you need in players, especially backups. And it seems like
that's what
all of
football is,
that's the
next man up.
story of the football or the 49ers season this year is next guy up. And I mean, without Fred Warner, without Nick Bosa, I can't even think of the other starters that aren't playing this year for the Niners. I mean, they have put on a masterclass this year in coaching, and there certainly was a coaching difference just because of the talent difference. I mean, on one side of the football, you have Jalen Hurts, who has proven he could play good in the biggest games possible. Devonta Smith, one of the best wide receiver 2s in the league. A.J. Brown, I know we're shitting on him a little bit, but he's an elite receiver, I think.
Who dropped the ball 5 times?
He dropped the ball 5 times. Had a bad game.
And
had a bad
for sure.
And he had a
Saquon.
bad year. He's definitely moving on from Philly.
Probably.
And
And
the
I
offensive line,
would love to see him go to the Giants, just because watching him go against the Eagles twice a year would be amazing.
And get
the
locked down
Giants
by
need another
Quentin Mitchell.
receiver. Yeah, right, buddy. Get a load of this guy. But
I'm kidding.
and you guys are still talking about the defensive masterclass. Barkley went for 106 yards.
I mean, look, 100. But
That run defense wasn't run defense.
this year.
look, to hold a running back like Saquon to 106 yards again. One
That's not
defense
holding.
wasn't elite by any means,
that's-
but he stopped them. It stopped them from. Look,
There
point is, they only
there
scored
was
19
only-
points. You know,
There was only one game this weekend where it was a defensive masterclass, and that was the New England's defensive rush schemes against Justin Herbert. We watched a quarterback get murdered.
yeah.
okay?
I guess that's a good transition.
And
We watched two
And-
quarterbacks get murdered.
2 quarterbacks get murdered. Well, the
Yeah,
other one
well,
was already dying. But
yeah,
Justin
where that was
Herbert-
like euthanizing.
But Justin Herbert got hit so many times that broke my heart.
Yes.
Because I'm a Chargers fan, and it was just so embarrassing and upsetting. I mean, yeah, you can say their line's not healthy, but they need a lot of help on that line, because I feel like they should have beat New England. I think New England's a little overhyped, strength of schedule and whatnot in the regular season. They did win, they did do that, but
They're gonna have a test next week.
but I don't think Herbert's a fraud by any means. I know you mentioned that earlier, Nick. Or fraud watch.
Yeah.
But I think Herbert's that guy. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Whoa, that's a bit high,
Yeah.
but
Nope. I'm standing on what I'm saying. But he needs people to protect him.
absolutely.
You look at all the great quarterbacks in the league. They have protection. Besides Caleb, because he's unsackable, and besides Patrick Mahomes, because he also just knows how to turn nothing into something, like prime
True.
Russell Wilson. But yeah, that line needs help, man. But shout out to New England's, blitz schemes, because they were doing a lot of different things to apply pressure and get sacks on Herbert. They did a really good job there.
Josh, what do you have to say about that game?
The Chargers, man, Justin Herbert in that game was the perfect example of a quarterback making a bad situation worse. Yeah, the offensive line isn't very good, and I actually think the Chargers didn't do a half bad job building up that O-line. They drafted Rashawn Slater. They drafted Joe Wall. It is unfortunate Rashawn Slater could never stay healthy.
I'm glad you mentioned the 2 people that weren't there on Sunday.
Yeah,
but-
But they also drafted Zion Johnson a few years ago, too, in the first round. I don't even know where he's at. But,
Well,
Thank you.
I will interject here saying that, I mean, if you watched the broadcast, nearly all of the linemen were ranked either bottom 3 or the absolute
Last.
bottom of PFF ranks. out of all gradable offensive linemen in the league. So
So-
again, not much help up front, but
But
How
he
you-
didn't make the situation better. The run game was meh.
run game was not that good.
Just hear me out. How there's 32 teams in the league. How are you ranked 40th at your position?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
and that's the Chargers' offensive line
but
in a nutshell.
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend Justin Herbert wasn't missing throws or was making bad, was just missing receivers.
When
it
you have
was
four-
parts in the game where that happened. And I'm not gonna sit here and put all the excuse on the O-line because it's not Geno Smith. Why don't we could just blame Geno Smith for that game?
Josh, the
I think
way
we
the
should.
Chargers were
blame Gino.
the way the Patriots were applying
Stop
pressure
Gino's side.
to Justin Herbert, you would think they had 4 Miles Garrett's.
Yeah.
He
So-
had like 0.9 seconds to throw the ball.
You know,
Nobody's being accurate in 0.9 seconds, and Herbert's not all that mobile.
Sh-
He's a
oh,
traditional quarterback where he
True.
stays in the pocket.
also
And,
He don't move
that
around this year.
pocket collapsed.
shout out Milton Williams for.
Really
I think he
fast.
came back.
Yeah. Yeah,
Milton
he's been
Williams
out
had 2
quite
sacks
some
in his
time.
first game back. Also,
I think he played. I think he played week 18.
he might. I don't
But-
remember, but
On the Patriots side, they took care of business while they still. The offense was slow. That Chargers defense did look very good, but you could just tell they were tired. That's when they started allowing points.
Drake May didn't have a
But the
great game.
defense on every
well.
level, the defense was stellar, and that partially goes into coaching. That goes on the guys they brought in and the heart they have for Mike Vrabel.
To me, a 7 seed has only won a singular playoff game before, and that was the Dallas Cowboys meltdown. So outside of a yearly Dallas Cowboy meltdown, a 7 seed has never won a playoff game before. And so, in my opinion, I'm not going to hold this loss, especially this one. Last year against the Texans, I'll hold that one against Justin Herbert. He didn't show up. Against the Jags, he choked the 28-point lead. That one you could hold against Justin Herbert. This one, I think,
I
is
don't think you
the
can hold that
least
against
amount of
Herbert.
blame. Again, he was a bit skittish, and it happens when you get sacked 6 times in one night. But he faced a better team and lost. And for New England, let's hope Drake May got all of his, nervousness out of the way early. Got it out first game because you're going to have a tough task next week against the best defense in the NFL in Houston, which we're going to transition to now. Josh, you could go on your Aaron Rodgers rant as final pass, potentially, as a Pittsburgh Steeler and in the NFL in general, was a pick 6 in shades of Brady. Mike Tomlin is no longer the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers after a 7th straight playoff loss against one of the best defenses in the league, could only muster 2 field goals. DK had drops. Run game couldn't get going. Shout out Kenneth Gainwell. He had a good second half. And TJ Watt is winless in the playoffs. Shout out Houston, who CJ Stroud also didn't play very good. But that defense. Josh, go
That
into your
game-
little Aaron Rodgers rant.
That game was very out of character for CJ Stroud, I will say.
I mean,
Go in that game, they were talking about how he hadn't lost a fumble all season. Loses 2, which makes me think he doesn't fumble the ball very much. He did not play very well, but the running backs did. Woody Marks, Nick Chubb running
Great
at
game.
least 5 yards almost every carry.
Well,
Woody Marks had some explosive runs.
Small shout out for Kirk for having 144 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Yeah,
and
shout
touchdowns.
yeah,
Shout
a
out Christian Kirk.
vintage Christian Kirk game.
I
might
haven't
say.
remembered him playing well since that first year on the Jaguars.
Ah, he was good
Yeah,
in
well, now
Atlanta,
you
right? He
remember
was in
this game.
Atlanta, right?
It's-
No,
You-
he
No?
was.
Oh, I'm thinking
in,
of someone else.
He was in
Hey,
Stroud's
well,
gonna have
first
Arizona.
his rookie
Stroud's
year,
gonna have-
Arizona. That's what I'm thinking of. He was good in Arizona.
Yeah, he was all right.
Stroud might have not had the best game of his life, but he still threw for 250 yards.
Look, watching that game, he looked. That play, I mean,
He threw a bad
Playing in
interception.
that Pittsburgh, and that pick wasn't good. He was dropping the ball. He was missing a lot of throws.
He'd make
There was
bad
one.
throws when trying to avoid sacks too.
I mean, there was one where it was a clear touchdown to Nico Collins, and he just missed it. And you know, I think CG's a great quarterback, but clearly playing in that Pittsburgh arena was a lot for him. But you know, with that defense, he only got to play so well to win
The
football
defense
games.
had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Oh man,
Will
the
Anderson,
first one
future
was,
D. Roy.
Big
one
man.
of them. One of
boy.
them was a touchdown by a defensive lineman on an Aaron Rodgers fumble.
Okay,
The
here we go.
other one was a pick six thrown by Aaron Rodgers.
All right, Josh. Here
He's
we're gonna
a fraud.
dedicate. Before we get into divisional round predictions, I'm gonna dedicate the next minute. So
In my opinion, my humble opinion,
this is Aaron Rodgers' rant.
went out in the most fitting way possible. If he retires, that is the 3rd coach he's taken with him. He took McCarthy out of Green Bay. He took Saleh out of New York. He's now taking Mike Tomlin, and he might not even return next season. And we're still have the audacity to say Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. He is this all-time great. He is not. His MVPs are frauds. But, you know, he performed. He was just as useful as Justin Herbert was in that game. They were better off rolling out Mason Rudolph. You know, giving 2 touchdowns to the defense is unacceptable. I don't care if it's garbage time. That makes it even worse because the defense doesn't play as hard in garbage time. Next year,
All right,
I want
you
to
got
see
your
the
minute.
Steelers go
You got
for a
your minute.
quarterback like Kirk Cousins or Kyler Murray.
You got your
Get a-
minute. You got
get a
your
rich
minute.
quarterback.
That's your minute of horrible takes because obviously Aaron Rodgers is the Hall of Famer. Obvious first ballot. Obviously, he's one of the best to ever play. Let's go to divisional round predictions. We've been talking about that. We got into it a little bit with LA and Chicago earlier, so let's kind of just wrap that one up. Who do we got?
I'll start. I got Chicago winning. I think they play better in the first 3 quarters than what we've seen most of their season. I think Ben Johnson is for this week. He's gonna instill into all of his players' heads. This is not a team you can fuck around with. Excuse my language, folks. And I think they win. My score prediction:
Ooh, we're doing score prediction.
37-34.
Yeah, that's kind of the lines where I was gonna go with it. I think. Look, I think LA. I'm a Seattle fan, so I'm of course gonna be rooting for Chicago because you know, excuse my language here, but fuck Rams. But that being said, Rams. I think their offense is super high powered, and I think that Chicago defense. I don't think they can handle that high-powered LA offense, and I do think it's gonna be a high-scoring game. I think it's gonna be, you know, a tale of two offenses, and I think it's gonna be which defense can step up, make a play, and I do think it will be that Rams defense. It pains me to say I think it's gonna be a 35-27, maybe 24 game. I could see it being close, but ending in a 2-score loss. I do think Rams pull it out, though.
I got the Rams winning, but the key for the Bears is to get off and get going early. So, and you know, you just got to play the whole game. You got to, you know, start hard, finish hard. You gotta,
yeah,
you gotta, you know. But for the Rams, they're one-dimensional, kind of. If Puka were to get hurt because his usage is extremely high, that could be detrimental to the Rams. Almost as detrimental as it was. Almost as detrimental as it was in the Super Bowl when Odell went down. The only guy he was able to throw to was Kupp. Ben Skowronek was really bad. And now we got, you know, Puka, Tay, and, you know, they got a plethora of tight ends out there who make plays. Kyron Williams, pretty much give him 70 yards. He will get 70 yards. And I think he will get
No,
a
he won't.
touchdown, probably 2. But the final score, I'm going with Rams 27, Bears 20.
All right. Next game we have, we'll stick with the NFC, Niners, Hawks. Since they're my Hawks, I guess I'll go first. I think Seattle wins. I think it's very much a repeat of what happened week 18. George Kittle is now down, so that's one more key player down. And I mean, the defensive front with a week of rest. Hopefully, it's not a week of rust. It's instead of a week of rest. But I'm going to go Seattle. I think it's going to be low scoring. Maybe like a, I don't know, 17 to 14, 17 to 10 game. But I do think Seattle pulls that one out.
So
Josh.
I actually also have Seattle winning. The defense over in Seattle is extremely good on all levels. You know, they
Especially
got
D-line.
players in that secondary. They got Witherspoon. They got Eman Worry. And then in the linebacker, they got Ernest Jones. And then on that line, they got DeMarcus Lawrence. They got Big Purr Leonard Williams. Shout out Carl Anthony Towns. But I just don't see a way the 49ers will be able to keep up unless CMC turns into God mode.
Mark?
Like tribal chief God mode. But I have the Seahawks winning. My guess score would be 23-20.
Okay.
So with Seattle versus San Fran, I know Seattle's the favorites. I've never personally been a fan of having the bye week. I think that slows teams down without playing a week because now you're just sitting, waiting, trying to figure out who you're gonna play. So you don't really know who you have to scheme for. You know, you're watching the games, trying to figure out, okay, this seed won, this seed won. You know, we're probably gonna play this team. So I think it's gonna be a week of rust. I got San Fran winning. I think even though they didn't have the greatest game against Philly, I think they pull out the upset against Seattle. You know, division rivals and whatnot. So it's gonna be a tight knit game. It's gonna be very close scoring wise. I think it's gonna be 27-23. Seattle's driving down the field at the end.
Stop.
And,
We're going to stop right there and move on to the next game.
Whoa!
He's gonna.
Seattle's gonna.
Yeah.
Whoa,
We're gonna
no.
move
I
on.
ain't
Are you gonna talk bad about my boy Sammy boy?
Hey,
I
hey.
think Sam Darnold. I don't.
Malcolm
think he's gonna
Butler's
be
no
clutch
longer in
at
the
the
league.
end. I don't think he's gonna be clutch at the end of the fourth. I think he throws a pick late in the game to seal his fate to Cancun.
If he plays
Oh.
bad, we could have Sammy boy fraud talk.
Seattle
True.
trade for Joe Burrow. Anyways, next pick we got. Next game we got in probably the most interesting game I think is going to be New England and Houston. They're going to be in Boston. I'll let Mark speak on this one first, because
So this is gonna be a really good game. I think even though both defenses played really good in the wild card, I think it's gonna be higher scoring than what most would think.
you do.
I do, because I think Drake May is going to light up this Houston's defense. I haven't seen anybody really slow down Drake May.
Chargers kind of did.
Kinda, but he didn't have to do much because his defense wrapped Herbert into a nice little bowl, and yeah, that was why you gotta bring that up, Nick? Come on, you know how I feel about my Chargers.
Look, you brought up pass
No.
interception at the 1 yard line, so
I didn't say pass interception at 1 yard line.
Yeah,
I was gonna
well,
say that
you
he's
know.
coming down the field and he's gonna lose, because that's what's gonna happen on Sunday. Shout out
Had to
Sean,
do it
because he's
too.
gonna be hyped. But I think New England's gonna win. Because I just don't think I think CJ Stroud's not gonna play well. And my score prediction for that one is going to be 31-24. 21-14. New England with the win, and moving on to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, look, I think the Texans defense is super good. I think, however, their offense can only take them so far. And I do think CJ is better than how he plays. Sometimes it's just, I mean, look, this offense was not clicking. I mean, their run game has been pedestrian for majority of the year until last week. And that's because the Steelers' defense is not that good. And genuinely speaking,
slow that down.
I against look, I'm not as high on the New England defense as a lot of other people, but I do think they don't have to do a lot. I think it's gonna be low scoring, but again, it really does come down to, the offense in this type of game, because is the Houston offense going to be able to keep up with their defense? And I don't think so. I do think Patriots pull this one out. Maybe like 14-13. It's going to be close, but low scoring. I could also see it turning to a blowout where it's like 13-30 at the end of the game, but I do think New England pulls it out.
Before we move on to Josh's prediction, I'll bet everybody $100 he don't pick New England. Josh,
you know what? I will double that and say $200.
Well, guys, if we're giving money to Mark and Nick, I have been super high on the Texans since week 15. Man, that defense is unstoppable. Best defense in the league right now. And dude, let me tell you, they are going to swallow and spit out Drake May all game. He is not ready for what is coming. He has not faced a defense like this. And I think Drake May is stellar. He's a top 5 quarterback.
Whoa!
But
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying
his young guy welcome to the league game.
That's high praise for a New England quarterback, Josh. Coming from a Jets fan.
Shut up.
That's because he hasn't won 6 rings yet. Continue.
Yeah, true.
He wins 1 and it's overrated.
I think that what's going to cost the Texans this game if they lose is going to be their offense. But I see the Texans coming out on top because of that defense. They're going to force 1 to 2 turnovers. They're going to beat the Patriots, and the final score is going to be like 20-17 or 17-14, something along the lines of that. Give me the Texans going on to the AFC Championship, and you know what? Tell them now. I'm sending the Texans to the Super Bowl.
All right. Well,
you said 21-17.
I said 20-17 or 17-14.
Okay.
All right.
I'm surprised you're only saying the Patriots are going to score that little, but
I mean, it's a very plausible scenario. That Texans defense is really good, and Drake May has not faced a defense like that all year, and he did struggle a bit in his first playoff game. So it's definitely possible. That's the game I think, for me at least, is the most up in the air, other than this one, where the 6-seeded Bills are favorited to beat the Broncos at home. There are talks of Broncos being 2021. It was, 2021 Tennessee Titans. And what do we? I guess since I brought it up, I'll say my pick. I think the Bills win. I mean, look. I look to the Jags game, right? The Broncos have this play style where they will play down to their opponent or up to their opponent. They will have a close game where they barely win. I think Bo Nix, there's a lot of talks about him being elite, him being this. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a good quarterback, and I think, definitely think he's going to be the starter for the next couple of years, but I wouldn't use the word elite to describe his play this year. And, their offense leaves a lot to be desired, and I don't think you can play the type of games they've been playing all year long where it's super close until the last quarter where you barely win. Kind of like Chicago. Like, I don't think that's going to be sustainable, especially against playoff Josh Allen.
Hold on. Weren't they down big one game early in the season? By like a lot? Going into the fourth quarter?
They were. I think it was against the New York Giants.
Yeah,
against the New... Mark, isn't that your favorite team?
Them and the Chargers, baby, you know it. But it's okay, Josh, because I remember a lot of the games where the Jets were down a lot.
What was the record?
Yeah, remember when New England won 42-7, I think it was, or 48-7, something ridiculous like that. Giants never lost by 40.
All
but
right, back to
bad predictions.
My team's number one seed, baby.
You said Buffalo's gonna win. What do you think the score will be?
I don't see this one being close. I see this one being if the Packers actually finished the Bears and was able to win. Give me 30 to 19 Bills.
That's pretty close. But
it's 2 scores.
It's 2 scores. You're right.
I don't think it's gonna be a blowout.
Well, when you say it's not gonna be close, that's what I thought you were gonna say 30 to 7. You know, but my prediction for this game, I like Denver. I love Bo Nix because I'm an Oregon guy. We all know Oregon that. Go Ducks. That's why I like Herbert. I don't really care for Gabriel, but shout out Mariota, honorable mention. But I think Denver wins this game. I think this is going to be a week of rest, not rust, unlike the Seahawks.
Hey.
I think Buffalo is going to struggle offensively because they do a lot of short passes. Josh mentioned earlier. What was it? Shakir, 12 catches, 80 yards.
11 and 82.
11 and 82. That's a lot of short passes, and I really liked Benito. So I think he's going to have a field day during this game. And I think they're going to pressure Josh Allen, make him roll out a lot, which he does often. But I think it's going to force some inaccurate throws with the amount of pressure he's getting because he's going to be running a lot. I got Denver winning this game. So I think Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton are going to ball out. I got them winning 30-13.
Hey, dude.
So,
that's bold.
If you asked me this question a week ago, I would have a different answer than I have now. But the way Jacksonville was able to get at Buffalo has me thinking that Josh Allen is not that healthy. He's hurting. And the Broncos, and it's going to be just like the Texans game where a great defense is going to beat a very, very good offense. And it's actually Nick that brought that up to me the other day. Shout out, Nick.
Shout out me.
Where the great defense usually beats a very, very, a great offense. But I have the Broncos winning because at some point, Josh Allen is just going to be erratic, which we've seen in the past. And I thought this was Buffalo's year to actually go. I think they were going to lose because that's what Buffalo does in the Super Bowl, if you just look at their history. I think the Denver Broncos score enough, maybe 24-13. I don't think Buffalo scores that much. I think the defense gets a score. A couple field goals, a couple drives down the field. The defense is going to carry the Denver Broncos like they have all year.
I just think as long as we don't get a Texans-Broncos AFC championship, I'd be fine. Not because I don't like the Texans. I love the Texans. They're my bandwagon AFC team this year. But my God, that game's going to have a 3-3 final score.
Well, that's not possible.
4-2.
It'll be 4-3.
No, it'll be 4-2.
Defense
With
has to score a turnover at some point.
no, I think that game will have 6 safeties, and the team with 2 of them will win. I mean, that game will be. If you
these
like
quarterbacks
defense, you
credit.
like
These-
that game.
Give these offenses credit. They aren't incompetent. They are capable
But
offenses. They're just not elite offenses.
Against other elite defenses, dude, that's
I
going to
get
be.
it.
I
But
mean,
these defenses will find a time to make it.
That's
right.
going to
I
be.
mean, for,
Also-
for a team to not have an elite offense and go 14-3, I'm just saying that says something.
I would like to say, also, Sean Payton, he's going to have his guys ready. He is one of the greatest coaches of the past 25 years. He will have the Denver Broncos ready to face Buffalo. He always is ready. The Broncos always
see.
come ready.
We will
Yeah,
see.
And Josh Allen's playoff history, he don't have a long day.
Well,
He's gonna
you
have
brought
a
up
super long day.
You brought up Oregon earlier, and sorry, Mark, we're gonna have to bring this up. Absolutely destroyed by Indiana. Absolutely demolished. Watched
They
that
pulled
full
out the
game.
bell.
I don't know why I watched that full game. It not like it got any better, but Indiana is going to play Miami in the national championship game for
Give
college
me Miami by
football.
150. Fuck Mendoza. Excuse my language again. Hate
Dude.
that guy.
Why is
The
that?
number one
Is it
pick-
because? Is it because?
Hate
Why
him. Hate him. No, I don't need a reason
What
to
did he
hate him.
do? I mean,
Hate
he
him.
only beat your team
Hate
by what, 50? What was it?
No,
Mark?
it wasn't. It
Or
wasn't
Josh?
50. It was 41.
41.
Hey, but
Oh.
it got Oregon a new quarterback.
Yeah, Dylan Raiola, which, you know.
He's a dog from what I hear. He was in Nebraska.
Well, that's if Moore declares.
He's willing to sit behind Moore, and I think Moore should stay in college.
Well, we'll talk about that when
No,
we get to mock
no,
drafts. But looking on the national championship side of things, you think Miami is going to win by 115? What do you really think, Mark?
Yeah, no, that was just joking.
Is it?
Indiana's clear. Yeah, no, they're not gonna win. Their Cinderella story is coming to a crash and burn.
Oh, Carson Beck?
It's gonna be pretty ugly for Miami. I'd love to see an upset. I love rooting for the underdog.
You don't. You
but,
just you're lying now because you're not.
What?
Dang.
You're not rooting for the underdogs because you
Not
said
this time.
fuck Mendoza.
No. Mendoza's gonna win.
Oh, you think so?
Mendoza and that shit ass football organization is gonna win.
Better than
I would
Oregon.
love to see Miami win. I would love it. Oh my god. I would celebrate as if the Giants won the Super Bowl. I swear to you.
Wants
But
revenge.
as much as I love rooting for the underdog, I'm also a realist, and realistically, Miami don't got a chance.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. It should have been Notre Dame.
I'll agree with that,
And-
Notre Dame
but
fan.
that
I
means-
am.
But I'm happy Miami made it because at least they're putting on a Cinderella run.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
But
would've
with the
fucking
number
beat
one
Sooners.
pick looming over Mendoza, Miami is gonna get the belt.
Yeah, Indiana's
That
the team
game-
of destiny right now.
Now, Indiana's great on every level. Indiana is elite. Curtis Signetti is a dog. Mendoza is a dog. They got everything they need to be successful. I don't even know who else plays for that team. I'm gonna be real with y'all. But I was so bought into Mendoza because I thought that the Jets would have the number one overall pick.
Shout out.
Or
Yeah.
a team that
Raiders.
didn't need a quarterback was going to have the number one overall pick. And I never root for the Jets to lose. I pick the Jets every single week.
He does. He
It's
does.
sad.
Yeah,
Look,
he's quite
but-
delusional.
What I will say is it makes me wish he would quarterback my favorite team.
He's not because the Jets suck.
Curtis Signetti is going to change this organization around, this, Indiana around
Going to?
for the better. He has, but he's earned himself a foreseeable future in Indiana. He's part of the Saban tree. Expect them to be a popular destination for the transfer portal and high school recruiting.
For me, I'm gonna keep this brief because I kind of want to get to our last topics of the night. Indiana's a team of destiny, man. They remind me of 2019 LSU a lot. I don't think they're oh my god. They're there talent wise. But again, Indiana is the team of destiny. Mendoza is the best quarterback in the country right now. Number 1 overall pick for sure. And, I mean, look, that defense played really good against Oregon. First play of the game, pick 6. They have some solid guy there. I forgot the name, but their number 1 receiver, a stud. That team really doesn't have any weaknesses. And there's a lot of narratives going around about
Also,
this team doesn't have any 5 stars.
Also, I was wrong. They only beat Oregon by 34. I just want to correct myself.
Nice.
Which is 1 point less than
Only
Indiana beating Alabama. Nah. Shut up, Nick. All right. God damn. All right. You just got to rub in my face that Oregon lost to Indiana. Notre Dame didn't even make it.
We don't like Bama.
Hey, look.
Notre Dame didn't even make it.
What's the
They
Giants
got
record
replaced
again?
by Miami.
I like
Miami's
Cincinnati
in the
and they didn't make
championship.
it. Shout out
Hey,
to Bears
Notre
fans.
Dame should have made it, all right?
Yeah, but
And-
they didn't.
Oh, well, Notre Dame wouldn't have got blown out like Indiana like that. So, anyways,
Oh, yeah. No, Notre Dame's
Indiana's
worse than
winning by a
Oregon.
mile. It's going to be a good day for them Hoosiers.
Yes.
Speaking of Hoosiers, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Josh, let's talk a little bit about the crazy MLB trade that just happened.
Ooh, Nolan Arenado went to the Arizona Diamondbacks today. They sent a prospect over to St. Louis, and Arenado, coming off of his worst hitting season yet, he's at the age 35, I believe.
Last two
Turning
seasons
35 this
that's rough.
year.
Mark, what were you saying?
He's still elite on the field. Arizona's on an upward trajectory despite sounding like they were just going to break it all down at the deadline. He probably needs to change the scenery. It'd be nice to see him get back to where he was. Hopefully he becomes a valuable asset to the Diamondbacks in the box and on the field. One
Mark,
of the
what were
best
you?
third baseman on the field in the league.
Okay. Damn, Josh. Mark, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just adding on to what Josh said about he was coming off a pretty bad hitting year. He's had it rough for the past 2 seasons, I believe, right?
I believe it has gotten worse. I share a birthday with him.
Sick.
You share a birthday with him?
Yeah.
You also share a birthday with another friend of mine. Not
Yeah,
saying Arenado,
anyways,
one of my friends, but
Look, I'm not very knowledgeable.
His hitting was pretty good in 24.
What
I'm
was his
sorry to cut
average?
you off. It was 272.
That's not bad. Look, I don't know much about baseball. I can't really speak on it. But I did read a bit into it, and it seems like they got it was a player trade, I believe. The other, what was it, Marlins, right? The team. I'm not crazy for misremembering. Cardinals. No, who was the trade between? The Cardinals traded him to the Marlins, or
Diamondbacks.
to the
Diamondback,
Diamondbacks,
okay,
for-
sorry,
It was a player and cash considerations.
yeah, okay. Sorry, I misremember. This shows how little I know about baseball. But I did read they got a pitcher out of it too. Who was the
Hey.
pitcher?
He was a prospect.
Oh, okay.
The Yanks also brought in a lefty arm today.
Who's that?
To be
Yeah,
good.
shout
That
out
was the
AD.
kid from Marlins. Ryan Weathers. Don't really know much about him, but hopefully he stinks it up.
Hope-
in New
Well,
York.
I guess we'll learn more
hopefully-
during the regular season.
Hopefully he does well, is what Josh meant to say. Stupid Mets fans, they always misspeak.
No,
but,
no, he didn't misspeak there.
No, he did. Trust
Mets,
me. I know
Mets
Josh
are gonna
well.
win everything this year. I don't know much about base. I'm
Stupid
clearly
idiot.
look. I'm the football, the resident football guy.
Football guru.
But
over here.
yeah, I don't know much about anything else. So, but I do know the Mets are winning it all. That's all I know.
That's okay. So delusional.
All right. So our second to last topic of the night gonna be the NFL coaching carousel, which a lot is yet to unfold. I think we should talk a little bit about predictions and who should have gotten fired, who shouldn't have, and I think we should go coach by coach here, starting out with probably the most wild, shocking, probably not shocking, decision: Ravens firing John Harbaugh. Mark, I think you should talk about this because you want him in New York.
I do want him in New York. I was kind of surprised when they fired him, but it made sense. They haven't played well this past season. You know, they're probably gonna look for a younger coach, team up with Lamar, because Lamar's their guy. They're not getting rid of Lamar.
Oh, 100%. He's there as long as he wants to be.
So I'm very interested to see where he goes. Everyone's heard that 7 teams have already reached out immediately. Hopefully
More
one of
now.
them, probably more now. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Hopefully the Giants is the number 1 destination for him. I think he would pair really well with that young Giants offense and just young Giants team in general. But yeah, looking forward to see where he ends up. Should be interesting.
I do think the Giants are the favorite.
He might really be like, screw Baltimore. I'm going to Pittsburgh, and then everyone's gonna be like, whoa.
It'd be funny if Harbaugh, Stefanski, and Tomlin all traded places.
I don't think Tomlin.
It's not going to happen. I don't think Tomlin coaches this year.
No, I don't
he takes
think
at least
so
a year
either.
off.
I guess we could touch on that real quick. I don't think we all
Harbaugh-
don't think Tomlin's gonna coach next year. But
I think he's going to be the Jets coach in 27.
Harbaugh?
Destiny?
Or
No,
Tomlin?
no. That's Tomlin.
Sure you do.
I think Tomlin will be the Jets quarterback.
Yeah, and
Harbaugh
what?
and
Not
the Giants
winning?
feels like destiny.
Josh, he wouldn't want to lose his non-losing seasons streak. Okay. Anyways,
Guaranteed to go 9-8.
I do think the Giants.
was-
If not, I'm cutting you off here. I think the Giants are probably the best landing spot, and if that's where I'd want to see him go. I could see Cardinals. Hope not. Being a spot. I could see Raiders, although I don't know if he'd want to play his brother 2 times a year. Like I said, I do see the Giants though. That does make a lot of sense. A lot of young talent on that team. Presumably a quarterback, which
I mean, with the Raiders having the first pick, he could be like
very
"Hey, I'll
attractive
sign with
spot.
you guys if you guys get the quarterback that I want, which everyone knows it's gonna be Mendoza.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the Raiders though, they have fired their they've had I think 5 head coaches in the past 5 years. So again, I could see a world where that's not a very attractive spot.
I think that Harbaugh on the Giants feels like destiny.
Yeah.
It does. He'd be their best coach since Tom Coughlin. Like,
He'd be their
it
only
just feels like
coach since
destiny.
Tom
And the guy I think that's going to replace him over in Baltimore is Clint Kubiak, which is kind of backwards in a way.
Word, because Mike McDonald.
McDonald came from Baltimore.
My goat.
And now Clint Kubiak, he's kind of a hot head coach on the market. I know he's getting quite a few calls. I also would not be surprised if we see Mike LaFleur from the Rams end up either coaching the Ravens.
I didn't see that. Steelers job is available. And I think I bring up the Steelers job instead of a head coach themselves. Also, to touch on the Ravens, who I think they're going to hire, I could see a world where they go Clint Kubiak. I could see a world they pick up Joe
Gary
Brady.
Kubiak. I meant Gary Kubiak, the OC in Seattle. I think that's
No,
who it is.
Clint Kubiak is his name. Gary Kubiak's the old head coach. It's not... Unless Gary Kubiak comes out of retirement.
You're right.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's... I to touch on the Ravens spot, I could see a young head coach. I could also see that being a landing spot for Stefanski, which I don't know if Stefanski gets a coaching job. I could see it. I mean, I just, I don't. Joe Brady is probably a good one. Matt Nagy, I could see. I don't know. There's a lot of guys that could take the Ravens job. The job I'm more interested in is the Steelers and why I brought it up. The Steelers have never fired a head coach. They have parted ways with quotation points.
Yeah.
They haven't fired a coach since Vietnam, I think. I don't know how real that is, but that's the term I've been seeing floated around. So, presumably, their next head coach is going to be the next coach for the long term. Who is it? I was looking into some Steelers fans' comments today, and a lot of them seem worried that they're going to hire within and hire a guy like Arthur Smith or, promote a guy from their roster or ex-roster. Who do you think is the best fit for the Steelers job for the next 10 years, it feels like?
For me, I wouldn't be surprised if they hired from within. But for me, the Steelers job, that's where I got the idea of Mike LaFleur. I kind of thought Mike LaFleur would be a good, coach to go from LA to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I didn't even see him getting a job this year, but another guy was Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh would be great for Pittsburgh.
He's doing a phenomenal job. I could see him going to Pittsburgh.
I didn't think he'd go and get a job this offseason, but Pittsburgh is the one job that if he does leave, he can go to because Robert Saleh doesn't need to leave his organization for a job.
He's doing a phenomenal job.
The first time. But he will be one of the hottest available coaches on the market again.
I think he's the hottest.
I also think
coordinator.
Kubiak is a guy who could end up in Pittsburgh.
That's my prediction. If it's not Saleh, who's I think my favorite to land the Pittsburgh job, it's Kubiak for sure. Mark,
I don't have much to say on that. I think we're all, we all have the same mindset with that. Any other big firings?
I mean, the Browns job, Raiders, nothing crazy. I mean, Miami. Miami's another spot. I think Harbaugh.
Atlanta hired Matt Ryan as their president of football.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I think that's really cool.
Cliff Kingsbury possibly looking for a job. I think Matt Nagy is a guy who might be a head coach.
You brought up Stefanski earlier.
Yeah.
And I was, I actually didn't have him going to a team like the Ravens. But the two teams I could see him getting a job with, because I think he deserves the job, is either Atlanta or Miami. It feels like a good fit. Stefanski has experience, but I don't think a team like the Ravens would pick him up because I don't think he brings as high energy as some other guys.
Yeah.
Stefanski's more of a gives me more of a laid back kind of vibe.
Yeah.
That's why I see him either going to Atlanta or Miami.
I would also
popular destinations.
I'd also throw in Arizona with that as well. I think
I could see it.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
Mike McDaniel feels like a fit for the Browns.
I don't think Mike McDaniel gets another coaching job this year.
Not a head coach.
No,
maybe a coordinator.
Definitely a coordinator. He's a great coordinator, just not a good head coach.
Maybe McDaniel goes over to the Chargers.
They did fire Greg Roman. So that is a very attractive job for offensive coordinators.
If it helps them all that much, though.
I think it does. If you have Greg Roman wasn't the best.
Player personnel. The biggest problem.
I don't think personnel.
So. The offensive line. Can you name a person on that offensive line that started on Sunday?
No, because they were all backups. Anyways,
exactly.
Yeah, Kevin Stefanski, I could see going to Arizona for sure, Atlanta, Miami. The Ravens job is the most interesting one. I think the most attractive one, right? I think the Ravens one,
yes,
is obviously the place you want to go to because of Lamar Jackson and the talent that's there. It's just who do the Ravens?
They're not in a rebuild state.
No, they're not. They're in
a win now.
Which is also a lot of pressure for a guy too, because your whole thing is, I want to win now. We have 2-time MVP in his prime. We have, very solid defense. It kind of fell off at the end of the year.
Really good tight ends.
You got to nail this coaching hire. And I think same goes for the Steelers. You got to nail it. Steelers don't fire head coaches, so you got to nail your coaching.
No, they'll probably start because they're going to be in a rebuild state.
For sure, they're definitely going to be rebuilding next year.
Yeah, because they're all over the place. No one played good.
Yeah.
That Titans job is appetizing, and a couple of guys that I could see going there are either Matt Nagy or Brian Dable.
I don't think Brian
Those are
Dable
two
gets
guys.
a starting coach
Brian Dable
job.
deserves one. He did stagnate in New York, but there was not much roster improvement. I think the defense over in New York is really good. And
very
they
solid.
have a promising core of players on the offense. They need some help on the O-line. They could use another wide receiver.
I think the Giants need to fire their
Dable. Yeah, they do, because I think Dable's a good coach, but I don't think he made a lot of the decisions when it came to picking players in the draft or hiring players in free agency. So I don't think it was his team. I think it's the GM's team.
I just don't think the ball gets a job as a coach.
And then they finally, get this man a young, capable quarterback who didn't come from a basketball school, and then they let him go after a couple of games. Which,
in all fairness, he did a pretty bad job those couple of games.
Bro is throwing shade at Sam Howell.
Anyways,
throwing shade at Daniel Jones.
But
I mean, he did. Daniel Jones did play phenomenal this year.
What I was gonna say is, if Brian Dable doesn't get a head coaching job, I would love to see him paired up with Brian Flores over in Arizona.
I don't think Brian Flores goes in Arizona. I could see, honestly, you know what? I think Brian Flores could very well be the Pittsburgh Steelers' next head coach, because he does have those connections with the Steelers. He was there with Mike Tomlin after he got fired from Miami. I could see a very real universe where it's either Saleh or Flores as the next head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But this podcast has been over an hour so far, so I think it's time we wrap it up with our mystery segment / trivia. Last segment of the day, which is going to be that long. It's going to be like 2 minutes. It's a surprise. I didn't tell them, but the New York Jets haven't intercepted a pass all year long. They're the first team in the Super Bowl era to do that since the 40s. Since the 40s! The New York Jets don't even have the number 1 overall pick. They fumbled that away when they beat the Falcons. This team
stole the Falcons' playoff spot.
True, but also stole Mendoza, and now they'll have to settle with Dante Moore, who, again, good quarterback, not Mendoza. He's going to have to play without Big Q, without Sauce. Sure, they have the draft picks, but the Jets don't know how to use them. Josh, how do you feel about the no interception? How do you feel about the future of your franchise? Do it in 2 minutes. Because I'm not giving you that much time.
The last thing I wanted to talk
about
head coaching was the Raiders. We didn't talk about the Raiders, right? I think Vance Joseph or Matt Nagy get the job over there. Thanks for asking your wonderful question.
Answer the question.
I think it's been 2 minutes. Thank you.
No, it's been 15
All right, trivia. We got trivia. Hold the fuck
trivia.
up.
We got trivia.
So I'm gonna give you 3. We're gonna do this every episode, where I'm gonna give you each 3 questions. Whoever gets it first will get the point, and we'll keep track. And by the end of the year, whoever has the most will win.
Nice dinner.
I'm not giving you shit. You're fuck you.
On this time.
No, not on my dime. On Mark's time, because he's got a job.
It'll be Christmas.
Yeah. So, anyways, first trivia question. In the year 2000, hold on, wait. Hold on. I have to look up the year.
What? You don't even know the trivia question?
No, I'm.
This guy.
I do. I have to remember the year. Okay. In the regular season 2000, this NFC team made a run. No Google, obviously. This NFC team made a deep run in the playoffs just to lose in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Giants. Way to make fun of my team.
That wasn't intentional. That was not intentional. But
Yes.
Mark gets the first trivia. Next one is going to be baseball. Baseball.
Shohei Ohtani.
Nope. In 2003, the year I was born. I'm kidding. I was born in the 1800s. The year 2003, the MLB voted for the American League. Their MVP is blank. And what team did he play for? Actually, no, I'll give you a hint. Team he played for was the Texas Rangers.
Adrian Beltre?
Nope.
In 2000.
I'm not gonna know.
2003, the American League voted this player for MVP.
I don't know it.
All right, I'll give you another hint. Steroids.
Oh, Barry Bonds.
Nope. He would never play. I don't think he played for the Rangers.
Played for San Francisco. Alex Rodriguez.
Yep. Josh got it. All right.
All right.
Did he ever use steroids? I think he did.
Yeah, absolutely.
He used some sort of performance enhancement.
He used roids.
Yeah.
That was when he was
Okay.
dating Rihanna.
He also hated Derek Jeter. All right. For our last question.
He's the Aaron Rodgers of the MLB.
The Lakers and the Celtics used to be the best
I'm
team.
sorry, who?
The Lakers and the Celtics used to be the best teams in the NBA. Probably still are. But there was a hold on, I have to look at the exact date. So the Celtics and the Lakers have been the most dominant, some of the most dominant teams in the NBA in their history. However, they have versed each other how many times? I said however, like I'm about to make up a point. How many times have these teams met in the NBA Finals? And bonus point, if you can guess the record.
12.
How the fuck did you know that?
And
12 and the Celtics won. 10.
Whoa.
No, hold on.
No,
Mark got that.
It's 8-4. Celtics favor.
Okay, well, Mark, you get a point. The Celtics are 9-3.
Damn, I was close,
All
man.
right. So, Mark wins trivia week 1.
Yeah!
Um,
Yeah, Josh! Go Giants!
By the time
And-
this is edited and released, a lot of this stuff may be outdated. We don't know. It's our first episode, you know.
Nah, I won't.
Josh, I'll let you do the
We'll
outro.
get her done.
Thank you guys for tuning in. And with that, season is over.
Peace.
For the Jets, it is. Not for my team. It's always over for the Jets. It
It's
was
gonna be
after
over
the-
soon, buddy. It's gonna be
Jets is over.
soon.
Jets season's over.
No, it's gonna be over soon.
Oh,
buddy.
suck my ball.